Hello, welcome back to another bullet journal video. For this month I decided to go with Viking, Norse, Celtic kind of stuff, mostly sticking to the Viking things, but there is a little bit of Celtic history in it. I like to always expand my knowledge, and I really like learning about cultures and art and history and all of that. So this is my way of doing that. So I hope you enjoy a little bit of history sprinkled into some bullet journal planning videos. So I kept it pretty basic. I normally keep my bullet journal pretty basic because that's just what works for me. I would like to be that person who has like all the different pictures and arts and stuff, but that's not me. I'm not that talented. But I hope you guys do enjoy this video, and I hope you learned something, maybe a thing or two. I will also be linking a couple different videos that I thought were helpful when doing my research, just so that you guys can have different sources of knowledge, or if you wanted to learn more, you have those resources. This is really just like a very brief history about like 2 things of the Vikings. But I think they're really interesting, so if you do enjoy learning about culture, there are some resources. Here's a little bit. Let's get into it. So starting off, I just have March written out, which I cover with this sticker paper. This was an endless repeating kind of picture that I just printed out onto some sticker paper that I had. Obviously, it didn't line up correctly with the document I was using, so I just cut them all apart and laid them all down individually. It worked very well. I think it's very cute design, just little things. In actuality, it's probably not the best representation of Viking history because Vikings did not have horns on their helmets. It's a common misconception. But it's got hammers, axes, boats, shields, just, you know, cutesy little doodles that I'm not good at drawing. So I printed it out and stuck it on there. Most of the writing style that I'm using, I found just by typing in Viking font, and it came up and I thought it fit the theme perfectly, so that is what I went with. And as you can see here, I put it on a piece of tracing paper so that I could put it on top of the doodles after, you know, sizing it out to where I wanted it. And here I'm just cutting the edges down so that it fits nicely and doesn't get stuck to anything. And here I am tracing those letters back on top of the thing. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about how February has gone for me. At the beginning of February, it was really hard. Some people like to blame it on Mercury being in retrograde, I think. I just had a bunch of headaches. I was not feeling very motivated. I was kind of stuck in bed all the time. Account that to what you will. I like the idea of astrology and not having to blame it on myself, so I'm blaming it on Mercury being in retrograde. February also, towards the end, got very good. I was very productive. I started taking silk ropes class, which has been really fun. I also got a tattoo, as you can kind of see. I don't know if it's going to line up very well, but I got it for myself. It's a little pig, chicken, and cow because I have been a vegetarian for 5 years now, and it's something I'm really proud of. One day I would like to go vegan, but right now that's not something I want to devote myself to because I do live in Indiana and there's not a lot of like eating out options. And I do like to go out to eat. I do try to make as many vegan choices at the grocery store as possible. I do buy vegan cheese for grilled cheeses and sandwiches. I always buy vegan butter, and I make my own oat milk. I actually just started doing that. I used to buy almond milk, and then I realized that's not very sustainable, so I switched to oat milk, and I actually have just been making it myself, which has been pretty fun and actually working really well. So now we are going on to my monthly overview of things. I don't really use the whole monthly overview calendar very often, so I've been keeping it very small and on one side of my bullet journal. Just because I don't use it very often. I have like 1 or 2 events that I write down every month, but it's really just to have a look of the month. But I have been writing down just a small thing in those tiny boxes every day. So I decided to do a things to remember spread this month. And I'm just gonna write like 1 sentence of how my day has gone, or how it was, or things that I would just like to remember. And then again, I did that in the Viking font, and now I am numbering the pages for the monthly layout and writing March again at the bottom. I do come back later to add some more color. This month I'm using mostly browns to represent wood or leather or just like natural tones in general. And I'm also doing Rune Stones, which I'm really excited about. The history behind Rune Stones is really interesting. They were first recorded to be used in 1st century AD by Germanic tribes. And you know, I'm that German history girl. So I wanted to include Rune Stones because they are a big part of Viking, Celtic, Germanic history. No horizontal lines in runestones because they would often carve these on pieces of bones, rocks, or pieces of wood, or within trees. So, in having the horizontal lines would go against the grain, which would make it harder to carve. And the first alphabet of runes had 24 letters. Eventually, it was replaced by Latin lettering with the spread of Christianity and the diminishing of pagan religion, which is a whole different topic. But runes did survive with the pagans and Scandinavians and the Vikings. Runes did kind of remain popular up until ink became less expensive and more available to other people, along with paper and things to write on. So they were still popular, and they kind of combined with the Latin alphabet to make this, to kind of absorb the paganism by the church. So I did 6 runes. I did strength, needs, rhythm, disruption, knowledge, and magic. They obviously have different interpretations, but these are the ones I went with to represent the habits that I'm tracking. Strength being working out, needs being cleaning, and rhythm being playing piano, so on, so on. I also did a Celtic knot at the bottom, which I was really proud of myself for doing. I know it probably seems simple, but it was kind of hard to figure out at first. But it actually has 31 spots exactly, which worked out nicely. Normally if I have more than 31 spots or 31 spots in a mood tracker, I will just do like an overall mood for the month at the end. So people who don't like having that odd circle mood tracker, just do 32 spots and have an overall feeling of the month. So now onto my weekly spread. I'm again doing shapes of Rune Stones on the left side for like the days of the week, and combining my Saturday and Sunday one just so that it fit nicely. And then doing just kind of these like organic shaped rounded rectangles for my classes and a little spot for notes at the bottom. This is just a spread that works for me with my class schedule and all the things I'm doing and not doing. But feel free to just do whatever works for you. This is just what I found works for me, and I continue to do it. So now I'm just writing in the days of the week and my classes where I have put my assignments, and then I check them off. And then I just did that again for week 10. And I don't really like what I did here. Some reason I just couldn't put the color in the right place. It just seemed really weird to me. But I'm using a Crayola Super Tip to color in the background brown. I don't really like it. I don't know why though. So I did the same thing on the other side with a brown crayon, and I still didn't like it. So I changed my layout for week 11 and 12, which I can actually, I'll show you guys now. This is what I did for week 11 and 12. I just did Celtic knots again. This one definitely worked better. These are 3 sets of 7, kind of. If you know how to draw Celtic knots, that may be helpful for you, 7x7 boxes. But I like this layout a lot more. So there you go. Do that information with what you will. Celtic knots also have a interesting history. A lot of them have no specified meaning. There are a couple meanings like the heart and the Trinity and the Tree of Life. The Trinity is very popular in many different cultures for many different reasons. Celtic knots, Trinity being tied to past, present, future, fire, earth, and water, mind, body, and spirit, or, you know, when the spread of Christianity happened, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The most important part of Celtic knots is that there is no beginning and no ending. Some people tie this to the circle of life, or, you know, just like that everything repeats itself, which I think is really interesting. And then I went back to my things to remember because it was boring. It was too white, so I had to spice it up with some color. So I'm just taking a couple brown markers and doing that for every other line, which I think that turned out well. Overall, I feel pretty good about this month, especially with my later weekly spreads. But here is the overall flip through. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something or were inspired to go learn more. I'm excited to see how I end up liking this in general, just the usage of everything. So I will keep you guys updated on how things go. But until then, I will see you next time. Thank you for watching,